Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Let's Talk Football with a new episode of WTF. What is going on with the Falcons this season? I am one half of this new show host. Joining me is Sean Spencer. How's it going, my friend?
I'm good, buddy. What's up? How you doing?
Not bad, not bad, not bad. Actually, we could almost name this the same thing. WTF, what's going on, Atlanta and Washington?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Look, at
Oh,
least you
man.
guys are still in the hunt. You guys are still alive,
I don't
technically.
want to be though. That's
Which is
I don't care if we are. I've taken such a different stance this season that I don't care. It doesn't matter.
yeah,
It's like one of those
yeah,
situations where it's gonna do us more harm than good to win games at this point.
right.
So yeah, I guess let's kick it off, man. Falcons are 6-8, right? The
Mhm.
record, don't get me wrong, we're definitely still in the hunt comparing and to the rest of the NFC South division. I believe what the Buccaneers are, what is that?
Taking it
They'd
right,
be
taking it
seven and
right
seven,
now.
right? Yeah, 7-7. So they'd be
Yes.
500.
They're seven and
And
seven, and New Orleans is the same, 7-7.
yeah, so don't get me wrong, it's a very close division, but it's also not a very good division. So, with that being said, the Panthers also being 2-12,
Mm.
um, not great. Definitely not great. There's a lot of rebuilding, restructuring, retooling, whatever you want to call it, going on there. So yeah, it's pretty brutal. I will say some of the highlights I've seen, Sean. Obviously Bijan Robinson, who's definitely up there in talks for offensive rookie of the year, but it's tough because that could go to anybody. It could go to C.J. Stroud,
Mm.
playing a phenomenal season with the Texans, but
Absolutely.
um, that's the one thing I can at least give Atlanta credit for. So my pro for that would be, the very least, Atlanta's running game has just gotten better. We had
Yep.
Cordero Patterson
Yep.
last year with Tyler Algier, Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. Still, we're not the best, obviously, with how good the Miami Dolphins are doing with their running game, but at the same time, we're in the talks, right? And that's good because that was one of our weakest areas for the past few years before Tyler Algier came on too. So, um, it's a nice change of pace for sure. But I don't know. What have you seen, Sean, this season? What can you honestly say from the little bit that you've watched?
Well, no, I mean, you hit the nail on the head with Bijan Robinson, and I think
Yep.
what's key about him is you not only get a rushing threat, we know about the 800 yards on the ground, but you
Yep.
also get a receiving threat. This guy has over 40 receptions.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like over 300 yards receiving. So you get a dual threat guy. We've seen him in space. He's lethal. He just
Yep.
leaves people their ankles in his wake, man. He's a solid performer. And I love that you have the weapons. Drake London, I like, has come
Yep.
alive. Kyle Pitts has come alive, in my opinion. Still,
Yep.
maybe not to the place where we would have wanted, but I mean, Drake London with, just under 60 receptions, Kyle Pitts just under 50. That's production. And
Yep.
you know as well as I do, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, there really hasn't been anything elite or even decent throwing to them. So, but it's
There's
good that
there's
they're
so much I want to say about that, but I'm not going to jump the gun right now.
right, right.
I uh I agree. You know what? There's a lot of valid points from what you were saying right now. We obviously, we're coming to the end of the season. We have the Colts, Bears, and Saints, and I believe, if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Falcons hold a 10th spot overall pick right now in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now it's clearly obvious right now at this point that we need a quarterback. I'll touch more on that in a bit, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we have the Colts, we have the Bears, and the Saints as our last three games. Um, you know what? I think at this point, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm giving three losses straight, which maybe the Bears potentially, but I think that's a really exciting game, not for the fact that we could win, but more so just to see, with all the rumors going around, that we could potentially land Justin Fields as a quarterback, and
Mm,
just to see if especially being towards the end of the season, right? Because
right.
right now, not to go off on a tangent and go off track, but nobody knows what the Bears are going to do. Because it's really weird because, with
Exactly.
them having Carolina's pick, right? Like,
You're right.
how much do they honestly have faith in Justin Fields? Because essentially the only logical two picks right now for the Bears to take are either Caleb Williams or Marvin
Mm-hmm.
Harrison Jr.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing else That makes sense.
But what do you do? Like, think about that. Do you take those guys and then use Justin Fields as trade bait? I mean, look, we know everybody in our circle isn't, unless it's Delilah and Nick.
Yeah, yeah.
We're not big fans of Justin Fields. And for me, it's hard because of the fact that he really has not had help. He's had a different coordinator, a different coach,
Yeah.
been no offensive line, et cetera, et cetera. But I honestly think, and I really want you to come on Let's Talk Football, the roundtable.
Sure. Yeah.
You definitely do. But I mean, I think it's crazy that they're even thinking about letting him go. But at the same time, you can use him for trade bait. Somebody needs, a whole bunch of teams need a quarterback.
Yeah.
You can get more draft picks to build around if you're going after, quarterback or something like that first.
Yeah, me personally, I think it's funny because this offseason is going to be definitely a lot more interesting than last season.
Yeah.
Some of the quarterbacks that are on, I guess, the turntables right now would be Justin Fields. You have Kirk Cousins. I know in the chat I mentioned Josh Allen. I'll touch on that a little bit too, of why I think that, because I think something needs to be done in Buffalo. Yeah, I can't really name of a whole bunch more. I don't think at this moment. And then also you look at like DeVito as the Giants right now, who he's been doing pretty well filling in for Daniel Jones, and if they're going to run with that. But I don't know. To answer your question, yeah, I think it would be stupid, in my opinion, to trade Justin Fields from the Bears. I don't think that would be the right move. I think I wouldn't look so much at the quarterback, but I would look more so of why the team is failing. Like maybe it's a coaching thing. Like Justin Fields is by far a better quarterback than a lot of quarterbacks in the league. Exactly. And it's one of those situations where, you look at Christian McCaffrey, he like an elite running back the whole entire time, wasn't in the right system. Right. You trade him over now to 49ers and he's the most lethal weapon on that team to the point where he's in like serious talks of winning league MVP this year. Right? So I think it's just another one of those situations. And like the same could be said about Kirk Cousins leaving Minnesota too, right? You put Kirk Cousins in like a different system. I know that rubs Washington the wrong way, but you put him in the right.
I don't like that. All right.
You put him in the right system, and like he's doing a lot better. And like that's not taking anything away from Minnesota, because Minnesota has a lot of great pieces. It's just they don't know necessarily what the missing puzzle piece is at this moment. So, yeah, I don't know. To put it short, I think the smart decision would be Marvin Harrison Jr. as the first overall, but you never know. So,
yeah, you don't know what to do. Look, let me ask you this question real quick, and I ask this because of Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
You remember last year we were all this offseason we were talking about all running backs are devalued. The Jonathan Taylors and the Derrick Henrys, they're not wanted anymore. You know what I mean? Because you have some of these Austin Ecklers, some of these little running backs that are doing just as much. And,
Austin Eckler's a bad example though, but okay, I get you.
It's a terrible example this year. But last year was a great example. But
okay, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, think about it. Half the league is quarterbacks have been injured. Or is there like now maybe some of these teams are saying, we don't need to get this number one pick. We don't need to get somebody like a Zach Wilson or a Trey Lance who haven't done anything in these last couple of years. We can maybe sit a while, build up the line or something. I know it's not going to happen, but should they think about that? Like maybe down the line?
Well, I think that's a tough question to answer. And the reason why I say that is because you kind of got to see where your team is failing, though, right? Like when you watch the games and you see those losses, like it's sometimes it's not black and white, right? Sometimes it's not like, oh, my quarterback sucks, or I'm having a coaching issue, or they keep getting through on the right side, it's my right guard, right? Or my center is not performing well enough and stuff, right? Like there's so many different variables. And you're right. Like sometimes it does work out where you get these quarterbacks like Brock Purdy who fell all the way down, to the 5th round, I think is when they picked him up.
Even farther.
Yeah, he was like one of the last picks, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So, like, don't get me wrong, but let's also factor in, like, how good San Francisco is as a team, right? Like
Yep.
their offensive
Absolutely.
line is phenomenal. Their running team is phenomenal. They have two 1A wide receivers, right? They
Mm-hmm.
have like one of the best tight ends in the whole entire league that's been compared to like Travis Kelce. Him and Travis Kelce go back and forth, right?
Yep.
So yeah,
Right.
and then you also have like, in all fairness, you have Kyle Shanahan as a coach. And don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
I talk a lot of crap about Kyle Shanahan, after everything
Yeah.
that happened with the Super Bowl. But
Well,
at the same time,
well.
he's a great coach. He
Right.
knows how to coach a team, right?
Right.
So these are a lot of things to kind of like factor in. And, I think though that you also got to weigh in to see, okay, like where is my team going to be? Like, am I trying to have like a 5-year plan right now? Are we
Mm-hmm.
missing just a couple pieces and stuff like that, right? Can I afford to not pick up a quarterback in this draft? Especially when it's a big quarterback heavy first round draft, right?
Right. Right.
Like, so I don't know. To me, if you have a quarterback issue, good quarterbacks are hard to come by, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And even when the team is failing, if a quarterback can perform, then that's going to give you like how many more wins, right? So
Right. Right.
it's kind of tough to say, man. I don't know. It's like I think like I'll use Atlanta as an example, right? Atlanta, yeah, quarterback like my quarterback is an issue, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not the main issue. That's the
Right.
thing, right?
Right.
So like to me, Arthur Smith is the issue at this point,
No.
right?
Oh, yeah.
So now, here's the thing: is the play calling has been absolutely atrocious. And here's the thing: is a lot of the time, and I'm pretty oblivious to a lot of crap that happens in football. I'll be honest with you. But when I can pinpoint, and when you see a quarterback not knowing what play to call,
Right.
that's like, what
Looking
does that
around.
say? What
Yep.
does that say? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah,
like
I
the
get
thing
it.
is you have an inexperienced quarterback where like he's not gonna, for the most part, call his own plays because he's like, okay, I gotta make sure I play it safe, right? I gotta make sure that I do what the coach is saying and stuff. I don't want to look like I'm trying to do my own thing and stuff, right? Like, and then he fails.
Yeah.
He failed, and that's the thing is we have a coach that failed in Tennessee,
Yeah.
got all the credit
Oh,
for like a generational talent like Derrick
yeah.
Henry,
Exactly.
who they decided to promote to head coach, who now has a 20-28 record over 3 seasons in Atlanta. Like, can you explain this to me on how we're keeping this guy?
I
It
don't understand that.
absolutely baffles me, man. It
I
baffles me
I
because it's
don't
like
understand that.
what does he have over Arthur Blank? I just don't understand it.
He knows where the bodies are hidden. That's what
Probably,
it is. Because that's the
yeah.
only reason he's around. He's not good.
No, he's
Not
not
my
good.
opinion.
And like what you were mentioning before about Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson and Drake London, sure, yeah, they have good receptions, but they're not getting targeted, man.
Right.
One of our main
Right.
targets this year is Jonnu Smith, and like, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, it's been great, sure, like he's been doing stuff, he's got touchdowns, but that makes no sense, man.
Man, not
Drake
at
London
all.
has been compared to Mike Evans 2.0. Kyle Pitts is supposed to be this unicorn that's finally getting targets because we actually have a quarterback that can throw and not run the ball. Like, literally, you could have given any other quarterback. Throw Baker Mayfield in there. Throw Sam Howell in there. Like,
Mhm.
heck, man, you could throw, like, I don't know, throw Joe Flacco in there, who's doing
No,
phenomenal, right?
Josh
And our
Dobbs.
team's going to do well. Our team's
Right.
going to do well. That's the thing, because you're throwing the ball. We have people that are tall and can catch the ball. Like Arthur Smith has come on and said
Doesn't take
he's
much.
drafting these tall receivers. The average height in our team is like 6'2".
Yeah.
It's not short, man. But yet
Yeah.
we're not throwing the ball. And don't get me wrong, I get it. Bijan Robinson is running it. Yeah, but even then, they're using Tyler Algier more. Okay, I get it. Doesn't make sense. Use the guy. Use Bijan. Make sure he gets hurt a little bit. Like, I'm not saying for him to get injured by any means, but yeah, man, you're gonna go against these top defensive linemen. Yeah, you need to. Like, you need to be going head to head with TJ Watt. You need to be going head to head with like Jadon Clowney and stuff like that, right? Like,
Yeah.
you need to do this.
Yeah.
And if you're
Yeah.
not, then like how are you supposed to prove that you're the guy? I don't know. It's tough to say, man. I don't understand it. He needs to get fired. And the only way, unfortunately, that's going to happen, and we'll touch base with this after, but is for the Falcons to lose the season. It does us no good to win right now, man. It doesn't.
Yeah.
So
I think he's trying to give two different messages. Like on one side, he's like, we want tall receivers. We're gonna get Pitts in the first round. We're gonna get Drake London in the first round and show that we want to pass the ball. But at the same time, you also got like what 3-4 running backs over here, and you are steady, consistently trying to run the ball. Like, do you know which direction you're trying to go in, Arthur Smith?
Well, here's the good. Okay. One of the best things out of the season so far is the hiring of Ryan Nielsen from the Saints. And I will say that right now because our defensive game has gotten a substantial amount better. Now, here's the thing that worries me is I'm not sure if we're going to have Calais Campbell next season. I think he really likes it in Atlanta. I do think he likes it, and it seems like he really likes it. So we actually might be able to get
1 year thing.
Yeah, but we might be able to land him for another year, right? Which is great because I do think one of the things we're going to need is edge rushing support, which originally was where I was going to land us for the first overall pick this year, knowing that, Grady Jarrett's obviously getting older, even though we just signed him. Calais Campbell too. You're going to want that pairing, right? You're going to want that somebody that can at least go beside Grady Jarrett, but that's not in a wheelhouse right now. Like we don't need to do that necessarily because we even have like linebackers, for example, like Caden Ellis, who are absolutely balling out, man. Like absolutely. Oh, yeah. And not even our quarterbacks. AJ Terrell has kind of been a little bit of a myth, but you look at like Clark Phillips, and then Jeff Okuda has been phenomenal this season like for the quarterback position. And then I can go on and on about Jesse Bates because Jesse Bates, man. Holy crap, that guy balls out, man. Great
team in tackles.
So, it's weird because our defense was the biggest problem for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And we're a top 10 defense now.
Yeah.
Like, what does that say? Like, you know what I mean? So that is a pro. But again, going back to why this is an issue, you have so much talent. So much talent on that offensive line between Drake London, between Bijan, between Chris Lindstrom too, and Jake Matthews. We have a good guard, we have a good center. Caleb McGarry, I think, could be swapped out, but I don't think that necessarily needs to be a first round pick. But you have everything there. So at this point, cut the coach, the quarterback. I know everybody, and you see it all the time with Falcons fans on their fan pages that Desmond Ritter's not the guy. That's obvious. This is stupid to even bring up at this point.
Right.
Because anybody and their mom and dad can see that Desmond Ritter is not the guy and he will not be here next season. Yeah. But you don't stop there, man. You have to.
Is it time?
100%, man. 100%. You have to move on from him. You give the guy a year. The guy right now, I believe, if I remember correctly, between interceptions and fumbles, he has 23 this year. So I think right now he's the worst overall in that sense. And yet, don't get me wrong, I get it's your first year. That's no excuse, man. And this isn't a shot to Taylor Heineke. Yeah, it's stupid. It's dumb. You look at other people like Josh Allen who have I know he's up there as well too, but the guy is also an elite quarterback. So at the same time,
he wins games too.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't just lose games.
Right.
So, but that's okay because he's on his rookie deal right now. So Desmond Ridder, that doesn't really faze me. It's not like we're going to lose a whole bunch of cap, and we're getting a bunch of cap this year too. So, no, he's not the guy. Taylor Heineke, I said this in the chat as well. He's guilty by association, unfortunately. I think he's good to be there, and I have nothing against him. But he is not what the team needs, unfortunately. Hey, man, if he wants to stay as a backup, sure, why? By all means, I'm fine with running with him as a backup. But that's all he needs to be. That's it.
Yep. That's what I mean. And Washington knows this. I mean, we love him. He's a rah-rah guy. And honestly, the funny part about it, going back to you being 6-8, he's going to win some games that you're going to be like, I didn't need you to win that. I don't want it. Because he'll make you believe he's that type of quarterback.
Yeah.
But like I said in the group chat today, for every, 3 interceptions or 3 TDs, he's going to throw you 4 or 5 that should have been picked off. And you're just going to be sitting there oh, no. But he's a great energy guy, but he's not the future, no.
Well, when you have a quarterback draft like this, which you have Bo Mix, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix Jr., Caleb Williams, Drake May, this quarterback pool is comparative to what like the Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, like Zach Wilson draft
Potentially
was.
better. Potentially
Yeah,
better.
I think overall, I think it is better in my
I
opinion.
agree.
There's not too many question marks. It's just a matter of what's going to fit your scheme the best, right? So yeah, like that's the tough part, man. Is you look at what's going on right now, and the thing is it doesn't make any sense to win these games. To me, it doesn't. You're only doing more harm than good. And even right now, with the Falcons picking 10th overall, like I'll be honest, Caleb Williams isn't going to be there, and Drake May is not going to be there. They're going to be the first two quarterbacks probably off the board. I'd be shocked if it doesn't go that way. So to me, you're in a position where you still might get Jaden Daniels, or if you want to go Bo Nix, right? Or Michael Penix Jr. might actually still be there because he's projected, I think, to be picked around 8th. That's also assuming that no people do trades and trade up, which it will happen for sure. But like ultimately, if you look at who's in the top 10 right now, like the people that are almost guaranteed to get the first, like to get quarterbacks is if the Bears don't pick one, then whoever trades for that pick for Justin Fields, New England is pretty much destined to take one too. And then I don't know. I'm not saying that. I don't think the Commanders are going to do it.
New coach. It's just I don't know what's going to happen with EB.
Yep.
The writing's on the wall, man. Like I love Sam. I will defend him to the cows come home. That is my guy. But in reality, if you get a new coach is going to want his guy. And you have, like you said, if we have a top 10 pick, and the rest, this QB draft, I mean, it's a pick of the litter. Who do you want? Who do you want? You can really not go wrong with 3 or 4 of these guys. So, and maybe I'll try again with another North Carolina quarterback and Drake May. We'll see. I don't know.
Well,
but
like
the same way.
Because where did Will Levis come out of?
Kentucky.
Kentucky, yeah. Because like you look at Will Levis, he was picked, I believe, early 2nd round. He was the last of the quarterbacks, I'm pretty sure, like of like the high prospect quarterbacks to be picked in this draft. And you can argue that once Will Levis had his shot, man, I honestly don't think that oh my god, what's his name now? Who's the quarterback for Tennessee again? I'm drawing a blank.
Hendon Hooker?
No.
Oh, no. Tannehill and Malik Willis.
Thank you, Tannehill. Yeah, so Tannehill, I don't think he's getting his job back.
Oh no.
Like Will Levis is doing phenomenal, man.
Right. I think Malik Willis and Tannehill both lost their job. Well, I don't know if Malik Willis had a job. He's a lost factor in all this, man. He's another backup. He might need to move on, man.
Yeah, that's probably it. But he was picked last overall and he did well. So I don't know. Yeah, I think all the quarterbacks in their own way, shape, and form are probably really going to be really good in this draft. The only like big question mark that some people have said is you look at Michael Penix Jr. and the fact that he throws left.
Not very many quarterbacks have done that.
Well, you look at Tua. Tua, I think, was the same way, right?
Well, but that's the thing, though. But Tua, look who's Tua's guy right now. He's had Waddle for a couple of years, and now he's got Tyreek Hill. I think that's going to be the thing. If Penix, and this is what I've heard people say, Penix has 2 top, first, second round wide receivers at Washington.
Yeah.
Will he get that in the pros? If he doesn't get that, let's see how good he really is, man.
Yeah. So. Yeah. No, definitely, man. Definitely. But yeah, I think the Falcons should just lose it out. Yeah. I think the Falcons should lose it out. I think it makes no sense to win any more games. Yeah. And what I want more than anything for Christmas is just Arthur Smith to get fired. Just fire him. Fire him right now.
Let him go.
Pray to little baby Jesus on Christmas, don't ask for a physical present. Just ask for the digital one and just get Arthur Smith fired, please.
Get him out of here.
I don't even want a new head coach. I just want him to be gone. Let somebody fill in.
Yes.
What? Go let Cordero Patterson go coach, or bring in Matt Ryan for like the last 3 games for him to coach.
Exactly. Come on, bring him back as some kind of consultant or something. The man has brought you all the way up to the pinnacle.
Yeah,
he couldn't pull it out, but he put you there. He brought you there.
But in all actuality, though, you got to start thinking about this, right? What sense does it make? Like, would it make any sense for Washington to win the last 3 games?
No. Not at all. I mean, it's
right?
ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna. All it's gonna do now is affect our draft status, and we're
That's it.
not. We already know our coaches. Ron Rivera's gone. You and I talked about that before. We
Yep.
already know a lot of our players, Chase, Montez, they're off having success elsewhere.
Yep.
Most of our guys potentially are, Jonathan Allen, our number one defensive tackle, has already said, look, I love this team, but I've been here 7 years and I want to win. I'm tired of this crap. I'm tired of dealing with this every single year. So, and I don't even feel bad for him. I feel bad for him, but I don't even blame him. I'm like, dude, go. And some team's going to dominate with
go
him,
win something.
Yes, please. So we'll see, because again, we're another team. Arthur Smith is your guy. Ron Rivera's ours. We know Ron is on his way out, but
I thought Ron got fired. No, I thought he was fired.
Unless it was
today. Okay.
Yeah, no, he hasn't got fired yet. I think they're letting him coach the last 3 games, but it's pretty done.
Well, you look at like what happened with. I'm surprised that New England even came out and said it that they're not continuing on with Bill Belichick.
It was about time. I mean, I've been trying to fight for this guy, but Bill is just. It's just time.
Well, what else do you need to prove, man? You coach Tom Brady.
Right.
You won how many Super Bowls? What does it matter now at this point? Like, you're not Andy Reid. Stop trying to be Andy Reid.
It's just, you just gotta there's a time and a place where you just gotta say, all right, man, it's been a great run. I'm up there with the greatest, if not the greatest coach of all time. Let me just go home. Let me just relax. Maybe he can turn it off.
Maybe, but who does Washington have for the last 3 games?
No, the Jets are coming up this week, who potentially might have Aaron Rodgers. Then we have San Francisco.
Yeah, that's a loss.
And then we have Dallas. So
that's a loss. Okay,
right.
So the thing is, from what I've heard, and again, I'm not trying to state any facts by any means, but I think that Aaron Rodgers has actually been ruled out for the rest of the season. I don't think he's coming back.
Really? Okay.
I think so. So that sucks actually for Washington, because that's a game they could win.
Right.
So at least where I can say the Falcons have something is they are going to lose to the Colts. It is pretty I'd be shocked if they beat the Colts right now, because the Colts are doing well. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if what you're saying is right about Taylor Heineke, that kind of Taylor Heineke doesn't need to come out on Sunday. It's okay. I don't need a Christmas Eve miracle.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just saying. I remember a game where he played the Colts with us a year ago, and it was an amazing game, and we got the W 17-16. So I can see him pulling something out like that. I'm just saying. Your defense is playing just that good.
I don't want that. I don't need that. And you know what? Once that happens, it'll look more likely then I think that Arthur Smith will just lose it out, or like the momentum will just continue to go with, we're not good enough and stuff like that. Because realistically, the Bears is the one that we could actually win against, and like the Saints should beat us because it's a divisional game too. So I don't know. With all that said and done, I'm ready for a new head coach, and there's a few people that are definitely that I'm looking at. Maybe a little bit more of a higher wish, but I don't know. We can go back and forth. I'll name you one that I think potentially is, again, this is more of a wish. I don't think this is actually going to happen. But apparently people have given up on Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. I'm like, are y'all serious? Why?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so I'll take Mike Tomlin. It'd be a good start for sure. He's definitely offensive, minded for sure. I don't think we need a defensive minded coach. I think Ryan Nielsen can just keep that job as the defensive coordinator for a little bit. I don't think we need to move him around. Just keep him there. That's great. And then have, somebody come in that knows offense a lot better. Maybe a new offensive coordinator as well too. I think that is needed, but I still think coaching is the main issue. And then Mike Tomlin would fill in very well there. You know what I mean? Bring Mike Tomlin in, give him a new guy. Mm-hmm. If he doesn't like Pickett, great. Send him to Atlanta. We'll pay him and we'll let him pick his quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right?
I like that. Honestly, I like that. I don't think he'll be available because he's going to come to us.
No, because Eric Bieniemy is getting your job. Eric Bieniemy is getting your job.
I love that pick. Oh my God, we'll see. Let's let him focus on the offense. You need to focus on that. Well, look, I like that. I agree. I don't understand why there's all this hatred towards Tomlin. Yet, if I'm not mistaken, he's yet to have a losing season. Even
No, he
now,
hasn't. Yeah,
right. Even now, he's brought this team, Pittsburgh, this year. Pittsburgh has been a lot better than I expected them to be. Now
yeah.
they're starting to act like I thought they were going to act as of late, but that defense has carried them. I mean, 7 wins. It's more than us, so it says
Well, and their
something.
QB is out too, though, right? Like
Right.
Pickett's out now, and like Trubisky's been in, and he wasn't doing really great. So, like some of the losses, like I'm not gonna say like the quarterback wins the entire game, but it does make a difference, right? So
Right.
they've been definitely having some hiccups in that sense, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin would be sick. Couple other people you look at maybe is maybe even go the college route and go Jim Harbaugh. Is it time for him to leave
Ooh.
Michigan?
Oh, I've heard it. I've heard it. I think a lot has to do with I know that they hear, and this is all from our inside guy, Alex Loosemore. Give him his
Okay,
credits.
okay,
I've heard that they are in talks to do the contract extension, but they didn't get the talks done before they went away for the national championship or the Final Four games and everything.
yeah.
So he said he's not talking to them till after the national championship. So if they win it, I think maybe you can have that conversation. However, if they lose, I think he's out the door.
Okay, so you think if they win, which honestly, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Michigan is the favorite to win the Natty right now.
Yeah.
So if they win it, you think he extends? I think no matter what he goes, because
Really?
you win a Natty, like teams are going to look at you like crazy. They're going to pay you. And then if you lose, then you're not the guy, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And then they still want you out. So realistically, like the pathways are the same. It's just a matter of the steps to get to that path.
Yeah, that's true. That's a true thing. And I've thought about that too, because that's the ultimate kind of F you. Like, yep, I want it. Now I'm taking all my stuff and I'm leaving. You know what I mean?
So I think, I don't know, that's a little bit of a stretch, but let's go with more realistic people. Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator for Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
I think he'd be a good fit. I like what he's done with the Detroit offense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Detroit was as much as a dumpster fire more than any other team. In a lot of ways, you can compare where the Chicago Bears were a few years ago to where the Detroit Lions were. But the thing is the Detroit Lions with their first overall picks, and they had a lot in the last little bit. Like with all their first round picks, they have drafted a great team with a subpar quarterback as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing is, like just to think, Jared Goff he's been playing great. Don't get me wrong, but you look at if that team were to get for example, Caleb Williams, that team's unstoppable. Then, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and that's the thing. Do you do that? Do you make that move? Like, let's say they get to the playoffs and they lose in the first round. Do you make a trade to say, hey, let's go ahead and get this guy, or do you stick with your guy?
Because for sure.
We know Jared Goff's ceiling.
Yeah. For sure, I think you do. I think there's so many pieces. The team overall is a very young team. You have, an amazing defensive tackle and an incredible edge rusher. You got amazing wide receivers, and they're all young, as well as the running backs and stuff. You throw in a good, established young quarterback that's just waiting to go into the right system. And Detroit is the new Kansas City Chiefs, 100%.
I can see it.
100%.
But they got to get that.
Ben Johnson. Well, that's exactly it. And Ben Johnson, he's just going to have to be out of that role right away, right? He's going to want a head coach job. So I think that would be a good start. Maybe Brian Flores.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Brian Flores would be really good too. Being defensive coordinator for Minnesota, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's been a lot of talks about Brian Flores. So I wouldn't mind him. He was former head coach of the Miami Dolphins, right?
Yep.
Well, there was a lot of bullshit that went on with that.
Told you need to tank. We'll pay you more to tank. He said, I ain't gonna do that. He said, I ain't gonna do that.
Yeah. So, but you know what? The guy's done well. He'd be a good. And then I think the last guy I was thinking of, and I always butcher his name, Evra Giro from the defensive coordinator of the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, okay.
That guy's been talked about a lot as well. So seeing maybe him go into that role, but I don't know. I prefer somebody offensive or like orientated. Like, don't get me wrong, we have a good defensive team, but we need offense is the focus. That's who we should be. The Falcons' identity, in my opinion, has always been the long pass game. So I don't know, man. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
No, I feel you, man. I mean, honestly, dude, you guys have all of the weapons. You just need the gunslinger, the guy to be able to distribute the ball, and then you just need somebody that's going to steer the ship as the head coach. Yep. And I mean, you know the two things that you guys need, and you're in prime position. Well, if you lose out the rest of the year, you'll be in prime position.
Or you trade, which I still think we could trade. Like, that's the only thing. Is actually that's another thing too.
Who do you trade? Because you don't want to trade one of your pieces.
If you win, like, let's say the Falcons win and they have, like, they win 2 out of the 3 games, 1 out of the 3 games, and we move further back in the draft, the only option is to trade for Justin Fields. I think at that point. You lose out, then I think at that point you go for the quarterback, or potentially you trade somebody for their quarterback for your draft or for your draft position. I think that's the only 2 options. So
that makes sense.
It's going to be interesting, man. But I think that's a wrap.
I like it.
Awesome, Absolutely. Man. Well, it's been a hot minute. And, for everybody watching, I wish everybody a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, however you celebrate, whatever you celebrate. And it's a much love from here at the Let's Talk Football family.
Absolutely.
All right, man.
My guy.
All right, Sean. Peace out. Merry Christmas, buddy.